May 4th, 2022, excuse me. Okay, so this is only done to show that as somebody from 11 to 14 that I do can remember things to a great deal of detail. One of the neighbor boys, whose father was a Marine, had come back from Korea and would occasionally beat the boys, had a lot of issues. He looked like Elvis. He was a nice guy. He finally married, but during his late teens, he started burglarizing, and he had a tunnel that he had dug out in the Confederate Point area, which at that time in the early 60s was a wooded area. It wasn't a subdivision. It was the mid 60s it started being constructed into a subdivision. And I do remember this. He got caught. He had radios and coins and jewelry, whatever he had down in that tunnel. Transistor radios were big at that time. So he got caught, and his father and mother agreed, even though they were separated, that he needed to go to the boys' reform school. It would be good for him. And so between 11 and 14, in the same era, and I remember thinking when Craig, that was his name, set the woods on fire, I do remember thinking, well, good in a way, because it'll be less that they have to, it'll be not a pine fire. It'll clear the land some. So he actually helped them a little by clearing the land. I think put a good spin on it, right? That probably did a little bit, because he set the thing on fire trying to hide his trails. So anyway, he ended up going to the boys' school, and even though I was young, I can remember this. My father had an Omega, but that was later. The Oldsmobile Omega probably was a later, but before that we had a gold Impala, and for some reason we took the divorced mom. Let's call her Ellen. Well, let's call her Yvonne. We'll call her Yvonne. That was mom, and she was separated, and we had to go to Mariana. Hell, I don't know where Mariana. It sounds like somewhere in Georgia, don't it? And we drove, and we drove, and we drove, and there was a radio in the car. And, they'd have these little country stations. Matter of fact, Yvonne and her family had something to do with a radio station, and these people are still around. They're good people. One has a PhD. They're nice people. Anyway, the daughter turned out exceptionally well, considering the circumstances, because the father would beat those boys with a rubber hose, and he was just mean. It was something went wrong. Anyway, so we went there to see him at the Dozier Boys School. And it went on and on. When I got there, I found out, no, you can't even go in because you're underage and you're a girl and whatever. So I had to sit outside the fence line, and there was a little white house. I had my radio. I may have had a Mad magazine. I don't remember. I had comic books usually, but it was boring. And it seemed like dusty. It seemed like I thought we were in Georgia. It was so long. It took us so long to drive to this Mariana place. Anyway, I got out, and there was a little concrete white house, and I ascertained when I went, there were no windows in it. It was like, abandoned looking, and inside was a butcher table, like you see in a morgue or something. I think it was wooden though. In the middle of it there was like a butcher table, where I guess something was slaughtered, and I was in there, and I remember that. I remember Yvonne, I remember my dad, my mom going there. So I'm just saying, these are the details I can remember from that event. Some events you remember. The man displaying the gun with Theodore Bundy. So I remember that. Maybe it's just part of the way my brain works. I don't know. But this is just trying to show you that, yes, I can remember a great deal of detail. I remember the length of the trip. I was thinking, oh my God. All right. He came out all right, I guess. He had issues. All right, thank you. But he was a nice guy in the end. All right, bye. He made himself a millionaire. He worked in an architectural firm or something. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.